Don't, number 15, don't cake on your stropping compound. It is not necessary and you will end up wasting your compound very quickly.
Really?
Too much compound will create an uneven surface and you will fail to accomplish an even and polished result. A thin layer is all you need. I prefer to apply it in a serpentine or jagged pattern and then use the chisel to spread it along the strop while I strop. Don't number 14. Don't apply light pressure with the chisel on the strop. You won't make a difference on the chisel. It is plenty okay to use heavier pressure. Just remember to apply firm and even pressure with secure and stable grip. That's the key. Don't number 13. Don't bother flattening the entire back of the chisel.
What the hell are you talking about?
The most important is the last inch, maybe 2 inches. You can flatten the entire back if you want. By all means, go ahead, and some of you will, and more power to you if you have the time to do that. But there are only a few applications that would ever truly require the entire back of the chisel to be flat. So for the majority of us woodworkers, 1 to 2 inches is all you really need to focus on, if not just the edge perimeter. Don't number 12. Don't leave gaps between the chisel and the honing guide. Always, I mean always, check for proper placement of the chisel in the honing guide before you even begin to sharpen. If you start sharpening and your chisel is askew in the honing guide, then your bevel will be lopsided, which will only prolong your chisel sharpening and shorten the life of your chisel. And to be honest with you, if the chisel is not properly placed and secure in the honing guide, chances are it's going to pop out anyways. You could injure yourself, damage your table, or the material you're working with. Don't, number 11. Don't forget to knock off the burr after sharpening the bevel. You can do this by turning over the chisel and running the back of the chisel along your sharpening surface a few times. Sometimes you can even just run your finger along the edge. Just be careful not to cut yourself. Cutting yourself with a chisel is an indication that it is sharp. Scientists have proven it. Maybe even scary sharp. Don't, number 10. Don't fail to properly clean your float glass when applying the grit paper. Any small particle left behind will cause a bump in your paper, leading to a notch in your chisel. Take your time and apply your grit paper with extreme care. If you find there is a particle underneath the grit paper, then pull it back carefully and reapply. Don't number 9. Don't tear your grit paper by being careless and sharpening too fast. It is easy to want to rush through sharpening so you can get working on your latest project.
Oh man, I can't wait that long.
I'm not saying go slow because it will take all day, but go steady and briskly, not super speed. A torn grit paper is a retired grit paper. Don't number 8. Don't worry about the direction technique when flattening the back of your chisel. Any motion of direction will do. Of course, it also depends on the size of your sharpening surface. If you're working with a small surface like I am, then back and forth will be your only option. But you can also make larger areas with these grit papers by using a second or third float glass. Just cut the papers bigger, as well as turning it over and using the other side of the float glass. On a larger surface, you can go side to side in circles, figure eights. These techniques or patterns are best suited for a whetstone or a diamond stone. The most important part is keeping it steady and not lifting the side, back, or front, creating an uneven surface. Don't number 7. Don't not ever chisel. It's better to have chiseled poorly and dull than to have never chiseled at all. Don't number 6. When using the Scary Sharp sharpening system like I have here, or any transitional grit-based sharpening system, don't continue sharpening on a grit once you feel the burr.
You know, I've waited years to hear somebody say that.
Now, this may not be as applicable on the really low grits sometimes, or if you're working with a brand new chisel or very dull chisel, but use the burr as a helpful indicator that it's time to move on to a higher grit. Don't number 5, don't expect a cheap chisel's bevel to stay sharp for long when using it on hardwoods. The cheaper the chisel, the faster the bevel will dull. I find that when it comes to most products, you get what you pay for. Chisels are no exception. But if you are a beginning woodworker on a budget like most of us, there is no reason to go out and purchase the most expensive chisels on the market. Now, I'll leave a variety of different chisels, both expensive and inexpensive, in the video description. Click on those, go shopping, get what you like. Number 4, don't think that if you aren't using super high grit paper or stone, you can't achieve a scary sharp beveled edge. You can still bring your chisel to a super sharp bevel by taking it to a bench grinder with a buffing wheel. Bench grinders are actually an affordable tool that a lot of woodworkers and wood shops don't bother getting until much later or at all. But they have many uses and can play an important role in sharpening chisels. Bet you didn't know that.
For realskies?
Don't number 3. Don't throw away your chisels once your secondary bevel gets too deep or large after multiple sharpening sessions. Take it to the grinder or a low grit surface to redo that primary bevel so you can create a secondary bevel. If you're using low grit paper, consider something like 300 or less. Don't number 2. Don't use only one single path on your sharpening surface, especially when you're working with a stone. You will wear out the sharpening surface unevenly and create a valley. Sharpening surfaces will inevitably become uneven. Only using one path, you can make your stone or grit paper become much more difficult to use and reduce the lifespan significantly. If you've made it this far and seen the first 14 don'ts, then you are primed for the number 1 don't. But keep in mind, none of these don'ts are in any particular order. I do keep the last one as a personal favorite or something that I think you will enjoy. So stay tuned for that. But before we get to that, I'm going to be putting a video right here that I already released of 15 other don'ts, the first 15 don'ts video of chisel sharpening, and check that out because I know you're going to like it. Also, if you want to support the Dude Sawdust YouTube channel, then visit our Patreon page. I'm just getting it started, doing some blogging over there, putting some videos with ad-free content, and I think you'll enjoy it, so check it out and support us. Also, click in the link in the descriptions for affiliate links where you can buy stuff that you like having to do with chisel sharpening. And with no further ado, let's get into the number 1 don't. Don't number 1. Don't mistake a new chisel for a chisel ready to use. A chisel set right out of the package are chisels that still have the factory machining marks on them and almost always have uneven surfaces. Take pride in your new chisels and give them the TLC they deserve. So flatten the back, establish your primary bevel, and show off a little by creating that secondary, scary sharp bevel of about 30 degrees. This is Dude Sawdust. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video.